It's
Hey, what's up,
showtime.
guys? This is Justin from Justice League Swag, bringing to you today two of our candidates from North America Future Card Buddy Fight to talk about Star Dragon World. Yes, Star Dragon World. They're better Dragon World than Dragon World, but not better than Darkness Dragon World, for my opinion.
We don't have as many.
We don't have as many shields. So we're getting there.
So we have Alex Black Magic Lewis, and we have Jonathan Max Rarity Minham, also known as the Butler. So we're going to start off with Alex. You know, you had some questions that you wanted to.
Yeah, so I asked a couple questions. Well, I didn't ask questions. I asked 4 questions and topics that we should talk about during the stream yesterday. And ignoring Bran, let's start with Austin. Is the sun not a star? Because if the sun is a star, why isn't Sun Dragons part of Star Dragon World?
Well, that's easy. Because when you're on Earth, it's the sun. So the dragons are on Earth. The stars, it is a star. So I think that's the best answer right there.
When you're on the ground, the sun is the sun, the stars are the stars.
I don't. Maybe now Sun Dragons are the future of Star Dragon World. So maybe we just jumped and jumped and jumped.
I mean, I'm willing I'm willing to accept the Sun Dragons in Star Dragon World. Those things are dumb. I mean, they get a green and a blue shield in one? What? No.
That was Austin.
That was Austin.
That's awesome.
Gotta love him. Alright, now for the real questions. We got Andrew Foose, who asks, does the card advantage potential of the Deus Trio outweigh their fragility compared to just running Dragon Arms and Neo Dragons with Soul Guard?
Wait, what was the first part of the question?
Does the advantage potential of the Deus Trio outweigh their fragility compared to just running Dragon Arms and Neo Dragons?
Personally, there's a lot more setup.
Yeah, there's a lot of
again,
setup, and you gotta keep it going, which is not really that easy to pull off. A lot of times when I play that deck, I have trouble seeing all 3 pieces, and if you don't see all 3 pieces, the engine kind of fails to start.
Yeah, I've seen it where, like on area, like a lot of people, like they'll get like the 3 pieces, and they'll get like a couple of cards, and then they will lose a couple of units, and then like they spend most of the time getting the units back than actually being like trying to win. Like they spend more time trying to draw than they are trying to win. So what ultimately, in the long run for that deck, that keeps it, I guess, yes, you're drawing and all this, and you maybe attack, and you have a big center, strong center, but in the long run, like, I think it's very slow. Like, I think now, I mean, like, yeah, plus 3 cards is always going to be an advantage, but when your deck does nothing more than draw, if I was a smart opponent, I would try to deck you out. Like, you know, like, I would be like, okay, you're drawing 3 cards per turn. Like, I need to keep this going. Like, let's see how much fun I can have with you, you know, decking.
You're literally just poking them until you finally draw into what you need, which you could. Yeah. It could be at the bottom of your deck for all you know. And as always,
well, and that deck, like, that build needs like a grandfather clock. Like, throw the shit back in the deck, like, and repeat the process. Like, how nuts would that be if they had something that's like, get another turn if you have like 50 cards in hand? Like, it would be ridiculous.
You just need something that could game your opponent, time your opponent out at regionals. Like, I have more luck. Do I win, Judge?
We're still in the first match.
Or you could always go with Justin's go-to response: 2 well-timed death grips. Shut the deck down.
Don't draw now.
Kill that one and kill that one.
Yeah. But I think we actually talked about that before, because even Tim said, like, he is like the king of jank play, and he said even he would not try to make that work He said there is no way to make it work.
Well, originally when the deck, like, in Galaxy Burst, like, you would use variable chord with that. And you were like, okay, like, let me draw, like, 3, 4 cards, whatever you can get, put it in the soul, focus that on variable chord. Like, now a lot of the times you see people just testing just the trio. And they have that new size 3 that also permits them to draw, get something back. Like, it's really insane to think that you want to build a whole deck just around drawing and stalling rather than trying to actually... Where Star Dragon World has so many different little dragon arms or things that allow you to actually be aggressive, it's really hard to sit there and go, okay, I'm going to focus my whole deck just exclusively on those 3 cards.
Stalling and drawing.
And that's insane. Like, who wants to... Like, if you're going to do that, play Dragon World and just use your 8 shields. Like don't...
At that point, instead of using those 12 slots that you had, no, not even 12, because then you have to run all the stuff that revives them and all of that. You're taking away from your win conditions at that point. You could just play more copies of your win cons.
Yeah, what is the card? The spell card that brings back a size from size 2 or less.
Wormhole.
Yeah.
Sudden wormhole.
Yeah, so I mean, like, they run usually 4 of that. Like, again, that helps bring back the things if you can't search them. Weapon-wise, someone was playing that new weapon, well, the generic world equivalent, where it allows you to attack if you have something in the center. But now we are getting a unit or a card that does that in inverse, so that at least gives them a little more, like, I guess you could say, playability. So, like, at least, okay,
use some outside of variable chord. Because
I think, like, if you did the variable chord build, like, where you, okay, I'm gonna focus around this at first, get my card advantage, then do variable chord, there's not a problem to that deck. And you still can draw, you just can't have all 3 pieces out there.
Yeah, like, I did it with variable chord, and I built it just so that once I got variable chord, I would keep I would keep the trio until I had them at enough life where as soon as I called variable chord and threw a garble anchor into it, it was a link attack for game.
Yeah.
So I would just keep drawing, I would keep poking at them, maybe I would get them down to 7 life, and then I would have variable chord with extra crits and just link attack and spell null for game.
Yeah. I mean, even if they had a center, I mean, penetrate. Is really powerful. I mean, variable chord for what he is decently, like, you know, pay 2 gauge. You automatically get penetrate, so you don't have to run the size 1 that you have options. So, like you said, spell negate, win game.
He's a terrible card, but the deck can actually support him. So,
He's terrible because.
It's from hand soul guard.
Yep. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I wish they had like a better defense card, like 4K defense. Now we're talking.
Or if Energy of the Universe was like gave you counterattack.
Yeah.
No.
+5 defense and counterattack. There you go.
No.
We don't need the extra power. Just give us the +5 defense and counterattack.
Yes.
No.
I think
No.
beautiful card, like counter 5KD counterattack, eat shit and die, like
No.
variable chord.
I don't need that.
Yes, we don't have enough of counter. We're very one-dimensional. We do everything on our turn basically, except for I guess spell null is really the only Neo Dragon that does. Well, they have that new one that's like a jackknife negate, which they showed in the show not that long ago, and I just was like, very depressing.
Why that card should not exist, because jackknife is a thing, and then you would make every jackknife about 11k to 13k defense with counterattack, and you would just be right.
He's only got 6k power, so it's not counterattacking everything.
Especially with this size 3 full burst jackknife, like there's not a lot of removal for that.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. Can't argue that one.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I think they do need a stronger counterattack based card. That's actually the one card we haven't seen for Neo Dragons is a natural counterattack dragon arms. Like I would love to see something like that. You know, like, oh, this card now has counterattack. Like, okay, so now we have a defensive card that we can put in the soul, and we wouldn't be reliant so much as on like Starlight Ring or whatever, not whatever it is.
Speculate ring.
Speculate Ring. You know, like a card like that would be fun to have in the soul. So give me a plus 3,000 counterattack thing that I can put in the soul.
No, the Bushiroad would cheese us out of it and give it +2 defense, like they do with everything.
You're right.
Yeah. You guys actually have a question on the YouTube feed. Memphis Dance is saying any potential for using Dragon Arms with the size 1/0 monsters with Soul Guard, or is it not worth it? Like 2K defense and move.
It depends on how aggressive you want to be, because I have built a deck that runs the size 1s and size 0s, because all the ones with Soul Guard have like really high crit, but really low stats. So you could potentially build a rush deck around it, but at the same time, the sustainability is pretty terrible.
Yeah, I mean, those like things. A lot of them don't have Soul Guard per se. Like they just are like put a card in. Like when this card enters the field, you may put a Dragon Arms into your soul. Like you said, it's like a 3/2/1, and then I think they have another one that's just like that. I don't know.
No, they actually have size 0s and size 1s with Soul Guard, but they have no way to get Soul without something else.
So then you gotta run like All Buddy, and then is it worth it? So, yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Like you said, there's Brown Dwarf, whatever they call that card. Kruger.
It's just not really worth it because they don't have any way to get Soul for themselves. So it's better. You're better off stacking your Soul onto one card rather than multiple.
Yeah, and then there's a size 2 that kind of does the same thing. Doesn't have Soul Guard. It just puts Dragon Arms into its soul or into it. I think if you want to build like a jank deck, go ahead and build Variable Chord. Like I think that's I think you're better with something like that than you are trying to build something that basically all the cards are susceptible to most destruction. So there's nothing that really keeps that alive.
Star Dragon World already has a problem with walls. You don't need to be running low-powered monsters that get insta-walled.
And I mean, that's just it. Like the deck, like again, for the longest time, like had like one build, you know, and we're talking Jackknife or Variable Chord, I guess you could say. Like, and those were your big monsters. And then they started giving us a couple of promos, and now finally there are other options, which are great. Like Aster again is a beautiful card. I've been playing a lot with Omega Big Bang. And like the card is super good for so many reasons, but at the same time,
it's
like
really cut. But at the same time, like, all right, let's just put this out there. Jackknife is the superior build. There's no two ways around it. He's getting his own support. That's why he's so good. He can use his own support along with the generic support. The generic Neo Dragons can only use the generic support. There are other ways to play the deck. There's other builds you can use, but Jack is going to be the best one.
Yeah. I think a lot of times, like when you look at I don't know how much of the Dragoner stuff we've really seen so far, but like again, the Dragoner main one, like in the neck is a Jackknife. So Aster still works with it. Like there's impacts now that are called
impact monsters that we got. They're Jackknives. You could put them over anything, but they're Jackknives. So you could, again, put Aster over top of it.
And the best part about the Jackknife card, like the first one we seen, Dragon or Wall from the trial deck, it just has call on top of a monster. So it's like, okay, like anything now. Like I could literally call anything, now before it doesn't have to be Dragon Arms. Like, so if you use like Quantum Ruler, and then like they kill whatever else you had out there, then you can just go, okay, let me use Jackknife, and now I have a soul, and now you're working again. Like the impact again is super good. So with Jackknife and on its own, it's just a really good card. So like, but again, you're gonna want to run it in a Jackknife build.
I don't know if we ever got Chaco the Baby. I totally played Star Dragon World.
I wish we did get Choco,
Which one?
but Choco the Baby. It's
Charco,
yeah, the size 1 drac. Yeah, I wish we got it, but alas, we shall never get it.
Yeah, especially if they treat you guys how they treat Darkness Dragon World. Like, we literally got all of our promos for everything when we didn't need it anymore.
At least you're getting yours. We know we're not getting Choco because Choco was a Japanese-only exclusive because it was for a Japanese candy company.
Oh, can't we get that candy here?
Nope. This is America. We can't have nice things.
Come on, Americans love candy.
Someone in the thing goes, still waiting for real Dragon Arm support. I think we have a lot of good Dragon Arms. Like
we definitely have a lot of good Dragon Arms. We can
like,
only look forward to more because what they're doing now is they're slapping all the old ones that we got, and they're slapping 2 of the old ones we got into 1 card.
Yeah, I mean, that came out today. It's a size 3, granted. Yes, Dragon Arm size 3s are ridiculous in its own right, but gives it 2K defense and move. Like, it's not that bad of a card. Like, I mean, again, you put that with Variable Chord regular, now it has what Variable Chord in. So it does. The stacking of 2 effects is really nice. Like, I think like that's a good way for them to go right.
A little bit more viability for Drum the Neo. Drum the Neo.
And
yeah, Justin, I played Sean, and Sean was playing Drum the Neo, and he went to time every time just because he would just sit there, put soul in it. It had like 10 cards in soul one game.
That's why we shadow dive now, people.
That's another Dragon Arms we get. You must attack this unit. Like, give us the Ancient Dragon effect. Like. It would be really interesting to see them do these little more outside-the-box effects that you might not necessarily run, but it would be fun to see it done.
It would be fun just to have it, just to have the availability.
Yeah.
I think like a card like that would be beneficial to the world, but at the same point, would you really want to run it all the time? No. But again, putting that on like
it gives
putting that on like a law. Putting the must attack this unit on the law would be ridiculously funny because like it's probably their biggest size 3 in defense.
Yeah, what is
7. Oh well, no, you could put that on Marshall Fortress. That would actually be really funny. Like you must attack this huge ass 10/10.
Ultimate Buddy Fortress.
And then you give it counterattack somehow.
Ultimate Buddy Fortress is a great deck. No, that's what we need. We need a Dragon Arms that gives innate Soul Guard. We don't have one of those.
Yeah, yeah. That is again, like maybe a size 0, maybe a size I could just see them going, here's a size 3 that gives Soul Guard, which so the worst thing? No, but I mean, like again, with something like Variable Chord that searches things now, like pretty much they have to be careful what they do give us. So, or Catastrophe Chord, because you literally put whatever you want into the deck, into his soul. So
I know, but we should. I feel like we should get a Dragon Arms that gives Soul Guard, just because it gives a lot more of the Neo Dragons that we aren't necessarily using now a little more viability. Yeah. It makes Marshall Fortress better. Like, you don't have to run Ultimate Buddy with Marshall Fortress to keep him alive.
Yeah, and it would actually make paying the 5 gauge worth it, because then you don't have to pay another for. I mean, granted, you can make it 4 gauge.
But you're still paying 5 gauge to get Ultimate Buddy in, so.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You're still paying 5 gauge no matter what, just to make this huge attacking monster viable. Like, he might be the only card I know of that in recent memory that's cost 5 gauge. Like, I
Yeah,
think his cost is a little.
I can't think of anything else that costs 5 gauge.
Yeah, no, I think the old Ancient World stuff. No, not even that. Like,
Not
I don't
even
even.
that. That's all like 3 gauge.
Yeah, I don't
Closest
know.
thing we got was Rangadez, which is 4 gauge.
I was actually thinking.
Fenrir 5 gauge. But
Have you guys tried any decks that are completely Neo Dragon?
Yes, I actually have one that me and Brand have been working on area. It's been tested pretty well. It runs. I'll probably make a deck profile for it once my stuff from Inverse comes in, because it uses the mover that we have now. I think his name was Spectrum. Can't remember his name off the top of my head. It's a size 2 that came in Mikado. It gets Soul Guard off the top, and it's got move, and then it uses variable chord as well. And it's just pure Neo Dragon. There's no Dragon Arms, just Neo Dragon spells and weapons.
Okay, Soul Guard plus 2K power. Actual.
Let me see. I can pull up
You
this
could
name
do
in a
that
second.
with like even Star Guardian Jackknife. You could still do that. A lot of that stuff is still like, oh, put this into the soul. From the
You
bottom
could
of the
still
deck.
run. You could still run Jack in it because technically he gets any monster from the drop, so you could still run Jack. But I built it. We built it more thinking towards like budget players.
Okay. And are
Yeah, but
you
mostly.
go ahead, John?
Go ahead. No, I was gonna say most of the stuff still for Dragon Arms is not over. Like, I think there's a super expensive Dragon Arms other than the only one that I ever see is Anchor. Like, I think that's the only one that's ever like stuck out in price.
Oh no, for the Dragon Arms thing, we were just bored with an idea.
Yeah. No, I understand. Like, I just think like across the board, I've seen some really fun budget because we got it's a size 2. It was a monthly promo. Railgun.
Oh, Railgun.
It gets penetrate. Yeah, like, and that card's super good because it says it can't be called this. Is that the promo?
No,
that's not. I think that is.
That is a promo. I don't think he gets penetrate though.
Yeah, I think that's the one I've seen people play because it gets penetrate. You put a card in your hand for the soul, so again, you can kind of choose what. So if you are running like Sonic Blast or whatever, it does do that, and it's got good stats for the most part. 6.25. So it's not a bad card for budget players.
Okay.
Back to more of the questions. We're ignoring Clay and his Waterworld comments. No, they aren't leading to Waterworld. Star Dragon World is the future.
Yeah, if Bushi does do a Water World, it's going to be Water Dragon World.
Ugh. Give me plant.
The next relevant question would be discuss Defender Envelope's place in Star Dragon World.
Which one?
Defender Envelope. I think we're getting him in the new set. Hold on. I know he's a size 2. There he is. Star Defender Envelope. He's a 6/6. Pay 2 gauge, put the top card of the deck into the soul. When he destroys a monster by an attack, put a Dragon Arms from your drop into the soul. And he has Soul Guard. Yeah. I like his stats, but in all honesty, I'd rather just play Drum than Neo at that point. Because he doesn't have to destroy something. Drum the Neo doesn't have to destroy something. He just guaranteed gets something from the soul. Or from the drop. And Drum can get anything. So you could stack Drum Soul with a bunch of useless things and just pick those stuff out when your opponent actually attacks over Drum while you keep the Dragon Arms. And the only thing I see other than the stats is better than Drum is the fact that he gets Soul from the top before he enters and Drum doesn't. So you could just destroy Drum before it swings.
Yeah, but I mean, Drum is like, I don't know, like he's not effective until you attack. So, like, I think he's a great card overall. Like especially if you're like late game and you're like, oh, I'm at 6 life. Let me get the double attacking guy into his soul, pay the gauge, and you attack, get something, you attack, and all of a sudden he's got 3 soul.
I mean, yeah, but you have to be destroying the monsters. That's the problem. That's my problem with it.
That guy, same thing. Like, you have to destroy monsters. So,
like
in the long run,
with Drum, if you use Drum and then you use Star Hand, and you just put Alma into his soul and then kick off the double attack, you could keep swinging face and then still get Dragon Arm.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I think you're right. Drum is just a better card across the board.
He just has more versatility there, and I'm expecting a big meta shift to come with the Triple D stuff, because Black Dragons and Sun Dragons are going to be wall hating, which means open center decks are going to have free reign, because nobody's going to want to run size 3 when they're taking 3 to 6 damage. Every time it gets destroyed by a Black Dragon.
Again, Aster.
Aster, like, one card answer. Can't be destroyed, can't take damage. What do you want?
That's why Spectral Strike is like useless, like, so and the vast amount of spam that you can do in an Aster deck is really high, like there's a lot that can be done.
Yeah, and the fact that impact damage doesn't work against you is pretty good. Because you don't take any damage from anything but attacks.
Anything but attacks. So sadly, impact monsters will probably count because they are technically attacking.
Oh no, I was talking about one impact monster that I know Darkness Dragon World is getting. Where it has Shadow Dive.
The Shadow Diver, the one that like. Doesn't it swing for 3 and then deal 3 somehow?
It actually deals 3 damage when attacking. So, like, yeah, that stops a lot of impacts. Not the other one that can't be nullified and swings for 6. That one's going to be my baby.
That's why my deck has moved, and it will be dead in the center.
Yeah.
We have another question. Where would you suggest someone to start if they want to play this world and have no experience in it? And also where to start getting the cards?
Well, I mean, most of the stuff is still pretty relevant. I mean, the older jacks are harder to get, but with the new wing out, you're not, like, I don't know, you're that new jack does like the same thing except for it looks at the top 3. Puts one in the soul, and puts the rest in the drop.
And
I think that's upon entry, so it can't be hit.
No, it's part of the call cost, so you can't snipe it before it gets the soul.
Yeah.
So
and I think the
with the new Star Dragon World stuff coming out, you're not SOL if you don't have the old stuff. You're gonna want to pick up some of the old Dragon Arms. Like Garble Anchor, Sonic Blast. Those are pretty much mandatory.
And those aren't even that old. Like,
yeah, I mean, those aren't old. But,
I mean, literally, those supposed to be young.
But what I mean is you could still keep moving forward, but you actually do have to look back to get some of the older Dragon Arms.
Yeah, like, I don't know. One of my favorite Dragon Arms, just because of the matchup, it's always a sideboard, is the Windkister, I think it is. The item destruction. That card against, especially like Dungeon World, is super good. Like it just kind of limits them, especially if you have a double attacking. Like if you put Alma in the soul and you double attack, and like,
or if you put
they're taking damage to the face.
You could always put 2 Winchesters.
Yeah, or 2 Winchesters. Yeah, you're very much right. Like it does a lot of work that way. Like it's just a really good card that I think, like, no matter what, people should have at least 2 of them. Is it a sideboard card right now? Probably. I haven't seen a weapon-based other than Dungeon World that really just makes me go, I need to run this card in it. Like, it's just, I don't know if you mainboard it. It's just one of those sideboard cards.
A lot of the a lot of the players that we have at my locals place a lot of things with soul. So rather than running Winchester, I've been maining Transportal, which lets you pick out soul
Yeah.
for different things. So I'm going to swing at you, but I'm going to take the soul out of that one and render you ineffective.
Especially
Yeah.
like with Ancient Dragon, Ancient World,
Ancient
like
World, 100 Demons, the mirror matches.
yeah, in Grenadez, like it's just a good card to try to help get rid of that stuff for sure.
But if you're looking to start playing Star Dragon World, it all depends on your budget and how invested into the world you are. If you're really invested, go get yourself the OG Jackknives. Maybe pick yourself
Yeah.
up a deck right now. If your budget's a little smaller, there's other budget builds, or if you still want to play Jackknife centered, you can wait for the guaranteed future support. It's Tsuku's world. What do you want?
Yeah. He literally makes Dragon World, like literally. Dragon World would be nothing without him. Then Darkness Dragon World was only good because of him. And then we had Star Dragon World.
Well, no, Purple Hair seems to be bringing the heat here with these new Black Dragons. Black Dragons are ridiculous.
Arcutan, Hideyoshi.
Yeah. And again, like I was saying, the new trial that comes out a week from Friday. So like there are older cards that are being reprinted, and again the newer stuff. And those trial decks are going to be super cheap, I think, right, Justin? I think you said it was like $10 or something like that.
Like $10.
Compared to the $20 trial decks that we had to get the original time.
Like you're getting 4 of that impact monster in there. Like that's pretty good. Like like I think that's a really good. If someone wants to get into the world, like wait a week. You'll have really good cards at your deck league, like, and then all you have to do is
really unfortunately, the Star Dragon World one is the worst of the three because it kind of requires you to get some of the older stuff. But right out of the box, it's not a terrible thing.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, I love that it can call over stuff, and like, so like. I don't know, and plus they have some. I mean, good. They have Earth Spirit, a guard that is hard to come by, and now they're giving you 4 of it. Like like the old trial deck had not Earth Barrier, the Gauge one, the Blue Barrier. Yeah. So like, if you get the old trial deck and that trial deck, you can mash the two together and kind of have like a really good, janky thing right off the bat.
Yeah.
So.
And the new trial deck comes with some good spells. Like we actually have a draw spell now. We can draw things outside of Factory. Because Factory was not a plus. It was a wash. You ditched the Dragon Arms and you ditched the spell to draw 2. So it's basically like filtering.
Yeah,
this one's survival chance point. So you're a 5 life, pay a gauge, draw 2.
Yeah, I never was a big fan of Planet Memory ever. Like, I think discarding your whole hand, I mean, I'd rather just draw the 2 or whatever. So I think it's right in there as far as good cards.
Yeah, but yeah, that's always been like a setup card to me. Arms Factory. It's like, and if you guys are looking to buy any anchors, I have about like 20 of them for sale. Literally, wait until next week. Buy your trial decks and then buy anchors for me.
buy Justin's trial decks. Buy his Garble anchors. Get started on Star Dragon World today.
If you reference this this live stream, like screenshot it or whatever.
Oh my God. He's hawking his shit. He's selling it. Did we have any other? Was there any more on the
list? we got 2 more. This one's from Tom Tell. What are your thoughts on Jackknife builds? Will they survive or will they fall?
Oh yeah, they'll survive.
Answer
that for you.
Definitely survive
it. We just talked about how the whole Dragoner is so. which the world already was essentially built around it to a degree. So I mean, just you're adding more and more support.
You're giving us more jacks to use. Thanks, Gucci.
Yeah. Again, one that searches the top 3. The rest of the drop zone, so it fuels all of their stuff. Like, it's gonna be really good.
It's a new
jackknife deck is.
It's a new jack, and fuels the other older jacks. So it's kind of like, all right, well.
Okay, like, let me put this in perspective for everybody that's watching this. Look, Star Dragon World isn't Star Dragon World. It's Jackknife Dragon World, okay? Dragon World is Blue Dragon World, and then Darkness Dragon World is Greybar Dragon World, okay?
Greybar Dragon World.
It's Baybard's World, okay?
It's Baybard's World, you're just playing in it.
Yeah, I mean, you can say it like that. I don't know. I've always tried to be like, I love the Jackknife belt. Like, lately I've had fun with Star Dragon World, but I've been looking for alternatives, and I honestly think the reversed variable chord is like the deck for me. Like, I've been trying to find that one thing that's a little bit different, and I love the fact that you can search out whatever you want and put it into his soul. Like, I think they needed more cards like that. We, of course, made the law, but the laws was like, okay, you can only play size zeros now. So Quantum Whirler would work for core. You can make up for your losses, very quickly. You can put more size zeros into the soul.
And use a 3 crit with move.
Yeah, and use the crit and move. So, like, or Catastrophic Chord is very good for that respect. Again, it has a very bad defense, but it's to me, it's a fun alternative to a Jackknife based deck. Like, I love that Big Bang, like the impact, all those things right now. The new impact monsters, like, okay, you almost killed my
things. There's plenty of options that you could play, but if you were to go to regionals, I would not recommend playing.
I think, like, unless they gave something that's a little more defensive based Dragon Arms, I would not run it, because, again, I don't want to be caught by pillar fires. I don't want to be caught by these things. Like, I love, too, that the Catastrophic Chord takes a card from the mag and throws it into the soul. So, like, that, too, is another reason why I really like the card. Like, I don't know. They need to create a few more Dragon Arms, I think, for making that deck a lot more interesting. So, I think, especially like in Star Dragon World, like and the other things, like, I wanted to bring up was, like, other Omni Lords you can put into the decks. That I think you've talked about a couple of the other things is, like, I want to get through the questions and then talk about that. But, like, I think Variable Chord in the long run, like Catastrophic, I think is, to me, one of the second best builds, because there's ways to spam gauge now.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that Venom Nova is really good. So anybody going to regionals, please play Venom Nova. It's an ancient world. It's not a Star Dragon World deck, but it's really good.
Oh, Venom Nova is a great card.
Pay no mind to any of the Black Dragon players. But they say that you take lifelink on top of damage.
He won't take lifelink. You could just pay 2 gauge and keep him alive.
Yeah, that's all a figment of your imagination. Look, you can life all of that stuff. We need more Venom Nova.
Anybody going to the Spirit Fest, play Venom Nova, please. If you play Venom Nova, I'll scoop instantly. There you go, free win.
Play Venom Nova, I will take Baybard out of my deck.
Oh, shit.
So we're about through with all of the questions.
Yeah, I got one more. Would Jackknife be the best buddy to start with?
Yes.
Regular?
Yeah, Star Guardian Jack.
Yeah.
If you can get your hands on 5, why not?
Yeah.
But
I mean, Aster's okay, but Aster again like doesn't do anything when he comes in, and he's expensive as shit. So like I don't think there's a point in making him the buddy right now.
But another backup buddy, if you don't want to go with 5 jackknives, you can run damn, just forgot his name. The size 1 that we got in the jack pack.
Oh, Quantum Ruler?
Quantum Ruler, right. You can run him as your buddy. You're running 4 copies of him.
He's
there's
a
no reason not to. He is a size 1. He's easier to call than Jack.
And I can honestly say, from my opinion, people are less likely to death grip him than Jack. I will almost always death grip Jack as soon as I see him.
Yeah, I mean, Quantum Ruler again though is like you play him and the conditions hopefully are met. You know, hopefully you're getting your free pluses. So that's all that matters. So.
I want to ask you guys, like with the Inverse set dropping this week, are you guys going to be using anything besides like variable chords as Omni Lords?
Inverse?
Not particularly.
Yeah. So like no countdowns of distant days.
I mean, I use Count and Dawn of the distant days because you can just throw them in any deck and he's just in there.
Yeah, Dawn I would use. Like,
But
the Inverse one is cool. Like, I think though, the thing is, if you're running a Jackknife deck, Aster fixes the, you know, like I don't know, like I don't think he's counterproductive. I just don't think he's as good as something. So.
Okay.
When you get moved and all that, you're doing other things to keep the deck alive. So.
Okay, so there's not a lot of stuff that you actually need from like this set.
not really. The only thing I'll be
I love some.
the only thing I'll be needing for my Jack deck will probably be the size 3 Dragon Arms. Which is probably the only thing that's going in the Jack version of my deck.
See, I'm loving a couple of things from this. I mean, I don't know again if they'll be used in it, but I definitely love the weapon that you can attack even if there's a monster in the center, because again, that'll go with the whole trio build. I really like the idea of that. Plus,
so that'll be in size 3s and Drum the Nevo.
Yeah, definitely, it's a good weapon. I think for the world, considering that they really
they're really pushing the whole closed center thing.
Yeah. And then I love automatic save, if that keeps the name of that, where it says put cards on top of your deck into your gate equal to the number of monsters on your field. So, like, if you again do a couple of different crazy builds or whatever, like that card could give you 3 gauge is really good. So, I mean, especially if you want to build a quantum, you load up your field with Dragon Arms. You do that, and then you pick them off, or you let your opponent pick them off, and then you're like, okay, I have the gauge now to pay for these things very easily, and then you have hopefully three things in the drop that you can put them in. Like it's just a fun card. Like I think like they showed in the show, they got 2 gauge off of it, so like it's just, and you can spam it. Like it's not a once per turn thing. So, oh, I have 2 of them. I have 2 monsters in the field. Two. I just got 4 gauge. Like or nothing. So. It's just one of those cards I want to build and play with and see how it works out. Because I think, like, again, if you have a reverse variable chord deck and you have 2 monsters on the field, you get 2 gauge, pay 2 gauge, put something in the soul. It's worth it trying to build that card into the deck somehow. Again, not in a Jackknife deck, I don't think, but definitely in other decks I think it's worth playing.
Okay, I have a question from one of the viewers. It says, this is from Edgardo. It says, do you think they will give us Scram Cross Knives anytime soon?
What was that? And Cross Knives?
Yes, Cross Knives.
I honestly have no idea. Bushi's been throwing out all these nice cards, and then you look at them and they're actually not as nice as you thought.
Yeah, like we just got Omnigram. I don't know if you guys are seeing. It's like a shop tournament going on. So it's like everybody gets a jackknife.
Oh, Omni Jackknife? Oh, I love Omni Jackknife. Omni Jackknife is great.
Yeah,
Actually, he might go in my jackknife deck just because he works with the jackknife weapon.
Yeah, nuts.
He gets moved. Why not?
His ability is sick. Oh my god.
I think that card's really good. I didn't. Had this. Now that I'm like looking through my cards, like I didn't realize we didn't have it. I don't know. Like I think that's a fun card for sure. But they've been doing really well in the promo department lately, it seems.
Yeah.
For 1 gauge, good Dragon Arms. So again, that's where we need the counterattack one, because that would be so ridiculously good. Like, because it just says you can only cast this during your opponent's turn, so it gives counter. Like, give me a Dragon Arms that gives counterattack, and yes, I will gladly want this card right away.
I was going to ask you guys what are some of the weaknesses or strengths of the decks. Like, is there any one deck that is like a really tough matchup for you? With
All Raging Spirits. Raging Spirits
Yeah.
has always been my worst matchup, no matter what I play.
I play test against Robert all the bloody time, and Asmodai is an annoying card. Like,
which one?
it's just
Omnidai?
Omnidai, like his counterattack, all that, like, it's a big wall. Like, Star Dragon World has a hard time against size 3 decks in general. Like, like Raging Spirits. If you put up a wall, I don't even think like Demon Godel and all those things. I don't even think that's nearly as bad, because we do have nice destruction like Sonic Blast and all that to get rid of some of that stuff. But it's definitely size 3s are hard to deal with, especially if you get them out on turn 1 there, and then you're playing more counter to destroy that than anything. It's not fun.
Okay, so
Like, size 2s are easier to deal with if you have Artillery and things, but size 3s, like, it's to the point where I have to main deck my size 3 hate and side more size 3 hate.
oh yeah, like what is it? Spell negate for size 3s.
I love that card, but it's really hard to play that card because a lot of the time your hand is on the field already. Too many times I've been playing and I've only had like 2 or 3 cards in hand.
Yeah.
So it's a really hard card.
The card is really good. Like, again, if you know you're going up against it, like, okay, I'm gonna put in 3 or 4 of this card maybe, and you have it, and you obviously you're gonna kind of like bait it out. Like,
I wouldn't.
But yeah,
I wouldn't use it unless I'm playing like maybe Omnidai or something.
Okay, I got you.
But it's not worth it to use it on something that you can actually attack over. But like Omnidai, he's gonna stay on board. You don't want him to stay on board, so you just stop him before he enters.
I don't know. Like, I think against Raging Spirits, it's just good to side that card in because it shuts down their deck very quickly. Like, in a lot of time, like especially against like Seeger. Like, granted you don't see too many of those decks, but like it's just super annoying to deal with those cards in the long run, because once they get their momentum going and they start countering and they start saving their cards, like the deck is really hard to deal with, and they get counterattacked to a degree, and the Wrath trigger is a thing. Like, I don't know. I would definitely, for Raging Spirits, have that card sided in.
Okay.
And maybe Grey Bard.
I wish I had a Grey Bard.
Yeah, that card is just full of love. I think that's all that
And it's shocking we got like a card like that, because I think they realized one of the downfalls of the deck, it has a hard time dealing with certain grade 3s.
Yeah, being walled out with the low attack power of a lot of cards. Unless you're,
and most of the cards are jackknife, like they're size 2.
Yeah,
so.
To penetrate. But ideally, how do your side besides the size 3. How does your side deck usually look when playing Star Dragon World?
For me, mostly Dragon Arms, depending on the situation.
Yeah. Mine's is
Like the. Oh, go ahead.
it's more size 3 hate. I side deck Artillery for mirror matches and Demon Builder matches.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Star Dragon World has a pretty fair matchup against anything that's not a wall.
Yeah. I don't think there's any spells that I would side deck. It's mostly Dragon Arms. Again, based on what they do. Like I said, Winchester. Like I like that card again, but it's a side deck card now. Like it's just one of those ones where it's like, okay, you're playing a very heavy weapon deck, or you're playing Dungeon World, side that in. Like it's not anything crazy.
Okay.
Transporter for soul removal.
Very cool. I think you guys did an awesome job, and I thank you guys for being on. If anybody has
I have one thing. If Bushiroad's going to give us any card, it needs to be Schrodinger's cat. Like, I need that card. That card, the Dragon Arm Schrodinger, is so good. Like, we need more of this card. We need this card.
We got the Schrodinger now.
Size 0. What's that?
I said we got the Schrodinger, now we need the cat.
Yeah, we just need that card. Like, it is super good because, again, more effects the better. It gives it move and penetrate plus 1,000. Like, it gets 3 effects for having 2 or more in the drop. Super good card. Super good card.
For having 2 or more in the drop of the same card?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the crazy part is you can run as many copies of it if you want.
What?
Again, in a size 0. Like, you can run this card in, like, a size 3 base deck so easily. Like, it is ridiculous.
No.
And there's so many cards that drop it in the soul. You can drop that card in the soul through Space Elevator. You can drop that in the soul through Formation. Like, there's ways to put that card in there very quickly.
We use Core Recycler, don't use Space Elevator. Space Elevator is a little too slow.
Dragon Arms, Factory, all of it. It all works.
But, just for a parting comment, Dragon Arms, they're monsters too. They're not just things to throw in soul. I've seen too many people in area who will call things. I'll be at 5, maybe 6 life, and they're just throwing things into the soul. I'm just like, well, alright, I guess I like living.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of people do that too. I'm glad you brought that up because that's something that a lot of Hero World players make a mistake on too when playing Kazarion. And I think like Jamel showed us that in the last Buddy Night Wars, like that's what you not do because he brought back the bird and he also brought back a size 3 double attacker. And he didn't put the bird in the soul, and it's like everybody was like dumbfounded by that. And I was just like, it makes sense. You have more attacks if you leave more stuff on board instead of putting everything in soul all the time.
Like, you don't always have to cross eyes. Your Dragon Arms are monsters too.
Yeah.
And a lot of the size 1s that you're going to be using are 2 crit. They do hit hard.
Well, I mean, Tasuku even does it in the show. He doesn't normally like just stack a ton of.
Right, he stacks like 1 Dragon Arms and it just lets whatever happens happen.
Yeah, he's like whatever I need at the moment. Go in the soul. Then random other guy go over there, attack Jack, attack there. I'll attack with my weapon. Then
I had a guy at my locals go like, "Why are you calling that to the side and not putting it into the soul?" And I go, when I first started playing this world, I used to put everything in there, and I'm like, okay, like, but I'm like, oh, I can only do one thing at a time, really. But now I'm like, okay, I'll put maybe 2 things in the soul and keep aside, a weapon and something on the side. That way, you are getting like formation. Like you really still have to do that in the world. Like you can't just go, let me just
like
hope to God that
put the Dragon Arms
effects
on the side and attack with it. 9 times out of 10, they're not going to attack your Dragon Arms. They're going to attack either you or they're going to attack the monster.
Yeah.
So, and then if you get something to replace it, throw it in soul and call the other thing.
And you know what's going to happen when you put all of your resources in one basket? Loki's going to come out and say, "Ha! Got you!"
Loki, tip at Loki.
Right. All of
There
them.
is no size 0 negate.
Yeah. Gonna say, oh yeah, you're playing against the wrong world, Jack. Good. But thank you, Alex. Thank you, John, for participating. If anybody has any other questions for these guys, please contact them on Facebook or leave a message here in this feed. I'm also going to post the links to their channels because they both have their own channels, so you can follow them and ask them questions directly on things that they play.
Yeah,
All right, so
leave Justin alone. Justin don't know
yes,
nothing about
leave
Star
me alone.
Dragon World.
I can Star Dragon World. It's like I don't know anything unless I played it before or like I'm building it to sell. That's the only time I know something. Otherwise, all I know is Darkness Dragon World. That's it. Leave me
And
alone.
what more is there, right? Who needs anything
We
else?
don't
but
need you to know anything more than that.
Yeah, because then I'll miss stuff.
I don't know, and there's a lot still happening for our world. So like, I think Alex and I we're like today again. We saw that size 3. There's a lot of stuff out there that's coming up. So I'm really excited to see what happens with this world again. So the potential is unlimited.
There's Dragon, Star Dragon, Darkness Dragon. Come on. We need more toys.
I think I want
give us Black Hole Dragon.
I want to
Black Hole Dragon.
Eduardo touched on that in another stream earlier. It's like you can't just ask for deck list all the time either, because it's like what works for me may not work for John, and what works for John may not work for Alex. So it's like you can't just go deck list, because like you also have to take into account play style. Like me, I don't care about losing life. You can knock me down to 1 life as long as I can still kill you. I don't care. I don't care about anything. All I want to do is see you die. That is my play style. I play really aggressive decks. I try my best to make every deck I play aggressive. I don't care about defense. I don't care about shields. Most decks I only run like 4 or 6 shields, and then my teammates even yell at me like during tournaments for charging my shields to try to kill someone. I do that.
You can do that though in like Star Dragon World because we have a okay, I'll lose 1 and gain it back. Like it's not a huge issue. So.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I think I'm going to do a separate stream on that because I get tired of like deck list. Can you look over this deck list?
I'll post my deck list, but when I post my deck list, I don't expect you to copy it exactly. I expect you to use it as a skeleton. It's a starting point, and then you make the changes that suit you.
Well, I mean, especially for harder worlds to use, because I always say like Star Dragon World and Darkness Dragon World are like mid-tier difficulty like worlds. You can't just copy a deck list for those worlds and just be good. Like if you copy any of my Purgatory Knights deck list, you're probably still going to lose unless you like play that world in depth.
Because they're the worlds that if you misplay, you get punished for.
Play once, you're probably going to die when playing it. It's just like with Legend World, Magic World, and Cotton World. If you misplay once, you're probably going to die. Like the easier worlds that you can just copy and just play are like Dragon World, Hero World, and like Danger World, Ancient World. Like there's like little to no mistakes that you can't bounce back from in those. In those worlds, yeah, go copy. And other like mid-tier and higher, like the higher like Legend, Magic, and Katana. If you just copy deck lists with them, you're probably not going to perform that well if you don't really get to know the world and like the cards and understand why you're playing the cards that you're playing at those levels. You're going to get the
Justin, we touched on this before when we talked about playstyle. Like I've said this about Austin. Like he's taken like what virtually seems to be like the standard build or whatever, but yet he always has plays or options. Like it's him as a player, like him as a person. Like he understands.
Austin's deck is so sporadic. I love it. I wouldn't recommend it for anybody else but Austin.
But yeah, it works for him because Austin is.
Yep, and I've seen people test his build on area like to a T. Like, and they don't nearly do as much as he does. Like Austin has put in work into his deck. He knows how his deck works. Like, that is why the deck works.
One ofs and like, 2 ofs. I look at that. I'm like, I would never play this deck, but in the hands of the right person, in the hands of Austin, the People's Champion Summers, it's a lethal thing.
Yep.
And I was gonna say earlier too, when we were talking about Alex, like I love watching Alex's videos because like even though we've always said like our builds are similar and maybe one or two differences, I love to hear why you run it, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I could do it that way, you know, like, and it's like it's good to hear from multiple sources sometimes and not just one deck list, because like I've had a few people ask me like, oh, what's your deck list? I'm like, I change it every week. Like I'll sit there and play with it and like I figure out what I like, and like the thing about Star Dragon World, there is so many cards now that we got in such a short time frame. Like we literally got 3 sets worth of stuff. Like I mean, All Stars, Inverse, Madoko. Like we got a lot very fast. So like, to be honest, like I'm still playing with things because I'm still seeing what works because of how much has been out there.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of those things. It's like I don't think there's a right or a wrong right now, because of how much we have gotten. Plus now we're getting a trial deck, then we're getting the next set. Like, that's a lot in a year time frame for one world that essentially had nothing.
Yeah. We have the trial deck as set of support.
Exactly.
Yeah, and some promos. Like, and that was it. Like, now we have a lot. Like, so when people are building and looking at this world, they have to go, okay, yes, I can look at other people's deck lists, but again, that's why it is good to also do what you like, because we all have different play styles. Like, it's just a unique world right now because, again, it all came at once. Like, I literally would say, like, it's been, what, 6 months? I think when we got most of our support. Like it's been over a course of 6 months, if that.
Because I don't think we've gone a single month without Buddy Fight release.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've even had a promo every time. So every month there's been a promo. Like it's a lot for the world that essentially again had nothing. So I mean, you could be some worlds like right now, Legend World, that have had little to no support at all, and and their builds are pretty staple for the most part. So granted, that I could be wrong. Every time I see a discarding Ice Blade Joker deck or whatever, it's usually the same thing. Star Dragon World. There are multiple builds, there are multiple cards. Yes, Jackknife's probably the best one, but then you see everyone's little text. You see everyone's little things, and you're like, okay, I see why you run that. Oh, I see why you do that. Again, like I said, I like watching your videos because it's it allows me to also think about why I don't run that card or why I do run that card, and then you might have a better reason why you run that card. And I'm like, oh, shit, I should run that card more like that, or, they've done that more ways.
For you.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Personally, that's why I never played meta decks or meta worlds, just because it's hard for me to keep up with just deck building for a deck to fit me. So it's gonna really suck with Darkness Dragon World and this whole Triple G thing, because now I'm gonna have to actually think about stuff because we're gonna be getting a lot more support than I'm used to those days. So is this good? Is this bad? Do I want to focus on milling attack on attack cards like the older cards that we already had in other sets? How does it work with this other card? Should I even change using it as a me? I avoid whatever everybody else plays. Yeah.
I definitely think Darkness Dragon World and Star Dragon World are getting a lot of very quickly. They've been now what will be the last couple sets. They're getting a trial deck. Whereas, even, I'm sorry to say, Dragon World, even though it gets support every set, it's new stuff right now. They're getting a whole, little sub-clan of their own thing. Where the other two worlds that are coming out, they're bulk. It's everything. There will be Star Dragon World decks that they're everything's still supported, and then there'll be Sun Dragon World decks that maybe use but it's mostly the new stuff. So again, it's a lot of times this new support that we've had or getting is going to be more prevalent now more than ever, because it's okay, we just keep getting more and more to our old stuff, and we got to make it work.
Yep. Okay, so advice on how to get good. This is how you get good. You get as many cards for your world as possible.
I have a binder dedicated to Star Dragon World. I literally have a binder that has play sets of all my Star Dragon World cards and nothing else in it.
You try new things. Don't be afraid to try new things at locals. Like I use my locals as a testing ground for. That's why I may scrub out a lot at locals whenever I play, but I don't scrub out at regionals. Why? Because by the time regionals come, I know what works and what doesn't work from so much practice. That's the only reason why I'm good is practice. I practice and practice and practice. You constantly try new things. If you're not trying new things and you're just worried about what other people are playing, then you're probably going to get the floor right.
Well, and especially if you have a locals, like I feel like that's a huge thing for the game. Our game, you don't have a locals, try to get on area. Like area is so good for testing for so many reasons because you can sit there for hours on end, which we've done, and test. Like I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there that it's quickly too. If you don't have the card, you can still play test and you go, okay, I like this. You know what cards you need then. Like it is a great source of information and usability that most people don't have. So you know, like I feel like if you're not on area, you need to be on area because it, again, is another outlay for you to use.
Yeah, like ideally, I love testing in person because it's like whenever stuff is like a month or two away, I get in there and test. But I hate playing online, but I will get on area just to test stuff to see if I even like it, if it's worth dropping money on it. And I'll still collect it just because it's for the world I play, and you never know when something will come out like down the line in the future, which makes this card that is like really mediocre now like fucking amazing. So, and another thing about area, just because you went on area does not mean that the deck is necessarily good. Look, if you
There are people on area that don't know what they're doing.
please do not be confused by like winning on area. That does not mean that you're a great player. Because a lot of times people that you play on area don't know the rules or are using test decks themselves. So you test a test deck against another test deck, of course you're not going to get valid results. Like area is just for like trying out new ideas against somebody in your face, just so you see how how this draws, how this deals. Like does it keep up? Okay, now I want to put it together in real life and test it. Here's the real test. Then you play it at a local, or if you don't have a local shop, go to another shop, or even ask somebody that you know from the Facebook group or your local Facebook groups. Can you play play test against like one of their most serious builds? Because that's what I use. John, Brian, and like Robert Mansour for like when I'm online. It's like okay, if I have a test deck and I see that they're playing something serious, let me play against them and see how my deck plays against theirs. And it's like if I get totally destroyed, I have work to do. If it does well, then I'm like, okay, I can start from here and build from there. And I just wanted to give you guys some food for thought because that's one thing that's like really annoying to me is like being constantly asked for deck lists. And me personally, I would not do deck lists if it wasn't for my channel. I only do deck lists because my channel. Because otherwise, like my promo, no, it's like I hate doing that. I hate giving out my deck list. I hate, but it's like in this game, Bushi Road is going to post them anyway, so I feel like if I win any major tournaments or like place in them, I might as well do a deck profile, and that's how I see it. If new support is coming out, I just say I might as well do a deck profile because I'm going to change the entire fucking deck.
Exactly. You do a deck profile on the old stuff, and then you just change it for the new stuff right before the regionals.
So I'm going to give you a basis and see where my head was when this stuff was out. But when this new stuff comes out, I'm probably going to use it in regionals. You're probably not going to know about it.
Yeah.
I was playing Death Rulers before the new support. Now I'm playing Purgatory Knights again. Ha! You didn't see that coming, did you?
All right. I'm going to drop the stream here. I really want to do another stream on this topic, just so people have somewhere where they can go to like get like info on this deck building. I'm gonna try to get like maybe 5 or 6 people to do this, so we can make like a huge list of do's and don'ts. But all right, Justin, signing off.